student loans, can we have these loans no higher than between 0 point something, max 3%? And payable back over your working life, because they won't spend their life paying loans. They still have to develop or grow their own families. So it's that opportunity encourages people. Yeah, we're giving you 40 years, but if you can pay it back in 16, fair enough. If you can pay it back less than that, fair enough. But the important thing is, it should not be a burden to these people. From the perspective of Mama J, since you've chosen to be the pathfinder and the opener of this, convener of this conference, I think you can also stand as a catalyst, being we operate hub and spoke system in aviation, feed and be fed. You become the fulcrum, the center of this storm, and bring everybody from the different aspects. There's the catering company, there's the fueling company, there's the security, there's the international and domestic carriers. There's a wide pool that you can bring together in a separate conference like this, or a workshop or a seminar, to drive this and have them see how they can contribute. Again, for them to contribute, the system must be willing, through the Civil Aviation Authority, to give back. I know we're all striving for the revenue generation, but imagine if you unleash the talents here, and year on year you produce this amount of talents in the industry. The sky is the beginning. Thank you very much.
So we'll be able to just take the first round for all the speakers to all the panelists to share their thoughts. For want of time, we'll just circle back in 1 second for everyone to give their closing remarks. Mr. Corcoran, please, can you go first?
Thank you so much. I want to appreciate Mama J also. Once again, for this opportunity. And it's a vision for many of us to do this, but because of time, we can't do that. But we must come around to support her, to do what we can. And if you can't go for it, then whatever you can do, whether it's through your finances, you must find a way to support. So, on closing remark, as I said earlier, self-sponsorship, it's good. True loans, if it can, help out, it's important. It's easier. You get self-motivated to also want to pay back. At a reality check, I actually asked one of the students in NCAR, and I asked the question. She was asking me recently that I have so amount to pay. He's going for this LPC course, and I asked her something. I said, if you have the opportunity for someone to pay you, to pay the funds directly into the school, and you would pay back within 3 years after you have finished school, within 6 months after you finish school, would you take that? Immediately, she said, yes, I would. So I feel that if these loans, whether through private partnership, through the government, and as you said, Mama J being our center, there's nothing wrong if airlines come together. They don't want to give the money, there should be feedback for that money to also return. And they come together and we do a huge trust fund, and we are willing to loan and say, okay, for aviators, we want you to develop in the next 5-10 years. You can pay back at this, if you are in the business of making money also, pay back with the interest of 3 to 7%, as he mentioned. I don't see anybody that would not want to fulfill his dream here. So I feel that self-sponsorship through loans would help, and through corporate partnership would also help. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir. Self-sponsorship and corporate sponsorship. Thank you very much. Mr. Richard, sir.
All right. My summary would be that aviation is said to be elitist place. That is an old saying. It's no longer valid. It's no longer elitist. Just yesterday, someone said to me that about 40% of the population in the United Kingdom fly. 40% of the population fly. In this country, we have less than 10% flying. So, the point is this: let's create the awareness, and it starts from this generation we're looking at here. Mama G has started it. A couple of persons, I remember, Ewo Siruro, Catch Them Young. Let us drive to the school. Let's invite them on excursion to the airports. Let's take appropriate approvals from the airport authority, bring them down to see things themselves. When these young ones see these things, they know that, look, this business is not cast from heaven. Aeroplanes are not flown by spirits, they are flown by humans. The preparation for departure and arrival are done by humans. They will appreciate it, grow to love it, and pursue that difficult thing, which is funding to becoming a member of the industry. Lastly, for the technical crew, technical staff of this industry, what I used to know is that existing organizations do what we call performance bond relationship. We will train you, but we bond you for X number of years. That may have faded because of defaults by a number of technical crew, pilots, engineers, and even some ground staff that are trained. We can revitalize that again. That can be encouraged. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Idris, your closing remark, please.
All right, thank you once again, and I want to just re-emphasize the need for corporate organizations and individuals to still come together to join in the support of creating new aviators through scholarship and sponsorship. And like I said during my presentation earlier, that we could use this present platform as another platform to support the existing platforms like the African Aviation Group, the Student Aviation Clubs. So the Mama J platform can also be used, being a very viable one and a very popular platform. So the airlines could come together, the ATOs, that is aviation training organizations, could come together, and individuals could also come together, fund Mama J and other platforms to select from the young people that wish to come into the aviation industry. So, in as much as the loan is one of the options we have been looking at, we are also looking at the option of full scholarships and sponsorships from corporate organizations. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Idris. Thank you very much for that one. I think is well appreciated.
Right, thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. Well, the issue of training and retraining need to be overemphasized because it's key. But then, of course, there are got to be resources, and there must be some leadership in the driving of sourcing these resources. And it doesn't just stop with government. It has to go with communities, of course, the captains of industries and well-to-do among us in Nigeria. And we have to emphasize that this is key because you're not just doing it for yourself, you're doing it for generations to come. And we always would want to partner and relate with this consulting outfit, Mama J, to keep evolving initiatives, right? To bring out who can now support this idea of empowering the youth. Without them coming over to take over, it's going to be a catastrophe for us. So we have to do it. It has to be done now and continuously. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. President, please, your final remarks.
I think there are two approaches. The first being the government-led initiative. Sponsorship is key, but this is always the challenge with sponsoring. There's something called donor fatigue. If year in, year out, pay you money, at some point one day I'll say, can somebody else give you? So it's easier for the corporates to do this, and hence a angle of CAA through the legal houses creating a tax holiday. When a man knows he spends 7 billion naira for sake of this conversation in paying taxes, but hears that I can actually reduce that for you in exchange for, there's already a hook. What is it in exchange for? It becomes a conversation, and before you know it, there's a synergy reached, hopefully, and the industry benefits from it. This is it's a highly cerebral driven industry. It's not just sit down and do this. There's training, retraining, because it's such a dynamic industry. So one, government initiative. Two, sponsorship through somebody with the initiative that Mama J had in the center point to sell these ideas to the people. You have private jet operators here. Where are the staff coming from? So there's the money. It's to find a way to create the avenue for that money to flow this way. People are reluctant to give money because of trust. But if there's a way this can be run through the Civil Aviation Authority for regulatory and transparency purpose, I think it is doable. But individual sponsorship is not sustainable. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Percy. So you mentioned some keywords: sustainability, having it run through regulatory platform for transparency, which is key. Everybody's afraid of just dashing out their hard-earned money. So my own parting shot will be that to you, the students, apart from the panelists, I'm sure this is, if you were to pay for this, you pay so much in a master class like this. I'm sure you've learned one or two things. But I also want to tell you that your dreams are valid. Whatever you set your mind to be, you can achieve it if you put your mind to it. Be it a pilot, be it a cabin crew, whatever career you set your mind to become in the aviation industry, it's possible for you. And then, of course, to the panelists, I will, and all the other colleagues of mine that are in the room, if each one can teach one and each one can train one, what a wonderful industry we'll have. Thank you very much, and I thank you, panelists.
I'm sure you know that you're going to clap again because that's not going on. I don't know whether it's the classic generation that can clap or whether it's the new generation that can clap. Please, if you belong to the classic generation, let me see your hand up. Yes, some of us belong to the classic generation. And some of you are forming that you belong to the new generation, yet you're still part of us. Okay, alright, so I'd like to recognize the presence of a couple of people here. Mrs. Kate Nana Mbebo is here. Please, let's put our hands together for her. Mr. MM is here from Dana Air. Let's put our hands together for him. I can see Valentine from Caverton Helicopters. Let's put our hands together for him. I can also see Queen Bileshi. She's here. Let's put our hands together for her. Thank you all for coming. We're going to go out to take some pictures now, and then we'll come back and do some awards before we continue with the second part. Oh, we're taking it here. Sorry. But before we do that, fastest finger. Airtel people, are you in the house? Are you ready? Somebody is about to win free credit. On your marks, get set. 5545 0341 5783 8805. Somebody has gotten it. Can I see your hand up? Please stand up, let's see you. Congratulations. She's won some free credit. Okay, so we're going to ask our, Mama J, where are you? Okay. We're going to ask our panelists and the moderator to please come here so that we can take a couple of pictures. And then we'll come back to the awards.
I would like to appreciate Dana Airlines. When we started this initiative years ago, Dana Airline was the first airline that sponsored and supported this initiative. So on this year's Explore Aviation Carriers, we have decided to appreciate them and thank them. So the CEO of Dana Air is here with us. Mr. MM. I remember 6 years ago, it was not funny. There were no sponsors. Nobody was ready to really support because they didn't really know what I was doing. But Dana Air was the first airline that supported us and sponsored this program. So today we want to really appreciate Dana Air. I want to say thank you.
Tell me how you doing. Hello, Africa. Tell me how you doing.
First of all, I'd like to appreciate members of the table. A lot of them here are my ogas. Them. I appreciate you all. Thank you for your support. I'd also like to appreciate Mama J. I'd like to say what Mama J is doing is very exceptional. What she's doing intentionally, she's really doing good for the industry, and we in Dana Airlines always want to be part of success stories, and we'll continue supporting Mama J and other initiatives that will try and make the aviation industry the best industry anywhere for people to work in. Thank you all for coming, and please, everything that has been said here, please take it carefully, intentionally, and work towards it. It will really make you a better person. Some of us have lived in this industry. We've started here. We don't have anywhere else to go. We're happy. Everybody that you see here, we're happy. We're all smiling. So that should tell for a lot that the industry is something that you can actually be proud of, and we are proud of it. Thank you very much, and thank you.
Alright, I want to suggest that we stand up and stretch a bit. Most of us have been sitting down for a long while and it can be tiring. I know you've had some water, but stretch. If there's somebody you'd like to say hello to, if you'd like to get to know our panelists, you can quickly seize the opportunity. You've got 5 minutes to do that. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get to the business of the day. We're going to start first, and basically what it is, we'll start with the people who are actually have careers, different careers. We'll look at them first. They tell us about their careers, the career path, and the skills that the students might need to get there. And then tell us what makes you feel good about what you do, so that, sometimes one of the things I say is, when we talk to cabin crew, when we're doing cabin crew mentoring, and they tell me I want to be cabin crew because I've got passion for the job. I say, you don't know what you mean by you got passion for the job. It's when you are in that job, that's when you know whether you have passion for the job or not. When somebody tells you something that's not nice and you can still smile and do what you need to do, then you know that you do have passion for the job. So they're going to tell us one after the other what makes them tick, what makes them enjoy what they do, because I believe that they're all in these professions because they enjoy what they do. And then the schools are going to talk about how you can join the schools and what courses they offer. And that will give you an opportunity to be able to at least ask questions in that regard. And so the first person I'm going to call on is Abimbola Akonde. He's a pilot with Caverton Helicopters, and he's a helicopter pilot. So let's listen to him. Over to you, Abimbola.
Once again, good afternoon, everybody. And my name is Akonde Abimbola Valentine. I work with Caverton Helicopters. We major primarily with offshore flying, swamp locations, and also VIP transportation. I'm just going to share briefly with you all my story, if it's going to inspire a couple of us here. So I went to flying school in 2013. That was shortly after I finished my university education with Covenant University. And of course, just like maybe a couple of us here, you're wondering, okay, I want to be a pilot. How do I, go through? Do I need to maybe go to some, maybe study some special course in the university, or maybe you need to major in some particular subjects? I was just as clueless, because this is something I've always loved as well, but I was clueless as to how I would go through it. So luckily for me, I met with one of my, I call him one of my big brothers, and I spoke to him. I was like, Ross, I like this job, but I don't know how to go about it, because I studied microbiology in Covenant University. This was as far back as 2012. And he just looked at me and he laughed, like, even me you're talking to, I studied accounting. And, here I am today. I'm even a captain of about 7 years. So, that just, started the fire in me. And I was like, okay, you know what, I'm going to do this. So in the process, I was trying to do my research, because, of course, you want to also know what it entails. So most of the requirements with being a pilot, whether helicopter pilot or aeroplane pilot, which is also known as fixed wing pilot, is you need to be at least 17 years of age. You need to be able to read, speak, and write and understand English language, and also subject to some medicals that you're going to have to do. Nothing too serious, just to be sure you're physically fit for the job. And that's about it. You don't need to know how to, maybe study how one plane falls from the sky or something. It's just that easy. And of course, if you have the strong will for it. I'm not going to use the word passion, because I think generally we all misunderstand what passion is. But the most important thing is having the interest. So going back to my story, in 2013, September, I was able to go to Bristol Academy in the United States for about a year. Just a little over a year, due to maybe weather and some other factors. I was able to finish this training, and after I go back to Nigeria, try looking for a job. Unfortunately, we came back at the time when oil price was nosediving in the country generally, so it kind of affected employment processes for a couple of us. So that made us stay back at home for a while. But as God will have it, just to cut the long story short, I got employed with Caverton Helicopters in 2018, June 2018. And since then it's been, Generally, it's been fun, but of course, I'm just going to go into the other side now, which is, of course, if you want to get anything done, and I'm talking to the students now, whether you want to be a pilot, engineer, lawyer, doctor, whatever it is, you want to make sure you put in your best into everything you do. And that way, that even alone reduces, the stress of having to cope with the job. All I just want to tell you here today is you can be whatever it is you want to be. So far you put your mind into it, you are determined. Everything is just going to work out just fine. And I know for some of you might have questions like, okay, generally going to specifics, how long does it take to become a pilot? First off, I've been able to explain to you all, okay, you need to be at least 17 years of age, read, speak, and write the English language, and of course, some medicals you have to do. But all of that will come when you are ready to go to the School of Aviation or Flying School, as most of us call it. And of course, for me, the most interesting part of the job is, I think I speak generally for all the pilots when I say, once you start flying, it's hard to give it up because you're just going to love every single part of it. Because with flying, you're going to keep getting curious. Flying is not the same every day. Your takeoff and your landing is never going to be the same. There's always going to be something different about it, which is always going to make you even more curious, because with flying, you're going to learn every day. I don't know about other professions. Maybe when you get to your peak, maybe that's the end of it, but even as a 25-year-old captain, you're still learning. So, and about a year, when you go to flying school, subject to maybe weather conditions, within a year you should be able to finish your training. And also it depends on your personal performance, how you adapt to the training curriculum. But generally, I mean, with most of our colleagues and general research, within a year you should be able to finish your flight training and get back to Nigeria in this case and try and get a placement. And from there, you just try and take it each day at a time, but make sure every single day you apply yourself, and make sure every single day you fly, you make sure every day is you putting the best of your ability into it. So generally for me, I'm just going to tell you all, for those that are interested, flying is a very wonderful career. Of course, there are downsides to it. You need to be very disciplined, which is as applies to every other thing you want to do. You need to be disciplined. It's time consuming. Of course, you might be working more, and flying also takes you away from your family sometimes. You have to travel out of the state, out of the country in some cases. So it's demanding. But of course, the training is also a bit on the high side, and no thanks to our dollar rate now in the country. But generally, I believe there are some companies and schools, consulting firms that might be able to help with sponsorship or scholarship, as the case may be. But generally, flying is fun for me. And I think on a final note, I can say, if I have to choose this career again, I won't even think twice. Thank you all for your time, and I hope I've been able to impact the of us.